We put AC compressor in this here DTF. Getting the shop open up, we got to get this thing rolling. A lot going on today. Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Jimmy. We're making it work. We're gonna spend a day in the shop fixing a whole bunch of cars. One of the guys is on vacation this week, so I'm gonna be a pretty busy little boy. We'll see what happens. There's a bunch of cars in the parking lot. There's a bunch of cars in the grass, although we've been knocking the cars in the grass out pretty well the past couple weeks, so we're getting caught up a little there. School's going now. That might have a little bit of an effect on things, but we're one man short, so I'm going to be 1.5 mechanics this week. Should be interesting. We're going to learn some things and we're going to have some fun. That's the way we like to roll around here. Let's finish opening the shop up, get started. Stay tuned. You guys are going to have to see my pretty face a little better now. We got new shop lighting, and the shop it's almost like daytime in here now, all the way down. Nice. Oh, first job this morning. I lost my train of thought. You might remember it. 2007. It's the Gobstopper. We work on it every couple of months. Another couple $1,000s worth of repairs. Compressor's here now, so let's do it. Should sneak out in the wheel well somewhere or something like that. And well, you're never going to see it from there. All right, we'll look from underneath. Got a little assortment of push pins, and get this wheel liner out of the way, and there's a compressor. I think I got to take this bottle out too, I believe, just to get some more wiggle room. Got that washer bottle out of there. Now I got to pull the Freon out. I almost pulled the manifold off the back of the compressor. I'm like, wait a second, there's Freon in this one. You can't do that. So instead of killing Earth, we're going to go ahead and evacuate the system. And then we should be pretty good. Everything else happens from the bottom. Yeah, let's see if we can get this belt. Oh, that's nice. I wasn't sure how I was going to get to it, but the old snap-on breaker bar did the trick. All right, I just got off the phone with Tim O'Hara, and he's got a lot of great information on putting the glass in the old the 62. He's talking about motor oil on the gasket, which should help tremendously because the glass cleaner was definitely drying while we were trying to put it in. Could have been a factor in it kind of getting stuck in place. I'm gonna use motor oil. I appreciate the advice, Tim. Good talking to you on the phone. And this is the AC compressor job I was telling you I was working on while we were talking. Let's get back to work. Focus, focus. It's amazing when someone has that much experience and can help you out like that. That's really appreciated. 15, 15, 15. And there's one in the back somewhere in there. You probably can't see it because I know I can't. I gotta grab some sockets. Got a little crazy trying to get that first hose dealio off, which is right here. And now that that's out of the way, I can get to the top one. I think my mountain wrench will do the trick, 13 millimeter. And then there's a 13, it looks like in the back of the compressor, if you can see that. Behind these new copper brake lines, there it is. We'll kill two stones with one bird. You know the deal.
Oh yeah, there's also some on the right side.
I can barely get my fingertips on it. Oh, all of that to get a nut. Look how long that thing is. It's crazy. What the heck? I'm excited now to get my windshield for the 62 to try again with Tim's advice. And you talk to somebody who's done it a lot and they're like, oh, it's no big deal. But everyone's scared of them now. They only want to do glue in. They don't want to do rubber in windshields. And one more bolt. I can't get a socket on it. I'll have to come up with some kind of contraption for that. I'll probably pull the stud out of the timing cover or engine block, whatever it is, so that I don't have to pull this all the way off. It'll just come down. Gear wrench mid-length 15. Gear wrench 120 XP flex head ratchet from Zach. And boom. It fits. Hope this thing fits out of here now. Obviously I got to drop the ear out of the alternator, which is kind of odd. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before, where a compressor holds the alternator. If I can turn this just right, I gotta hold my lip down. It's on the lip, yeah. Gotta give it one of those. Long centimeters. AC machine's done. say anything about removing the alternator. Alright, I gotta turn that off. Vacuum complete. Just a little tiniest bit of corrosion. It'll mess up the day.
Reset the thing. The AC machine.
Does it still say please wait on the other one? Something wrong. I can't use the automatic function.
Okay.
So I'll have to go to manual mode. I'll come over there in a second. Thought I was going to lift this out of here and you guys would be like, took that out like it was nothing. Instead you're going, does he know what he's doing? That was easy. It's a big deal. Oh man. That's the good stuff right there. It looks like the right one. That's good. Looks almost exact. Look at that son of a gun, huh? First try. I find it's a lot easier to change these gaskets out while the compressor's out of the way. Hey, no problem. So, once we get these in, we'll drop that new compressor in. Getting close now. Now, if you're sneaky enough, this goes right in. Sometimes it pays to be a little sneaky. Oh, you guys are shaking around like crazy on my new camera mount. My little extendable mono stick broke. But I'll have a new one tomorrow, no big deal. Might be a little weird today with my camera use. Might be better, I don't know, you tell me. Couldn't get the hose assembly over the stud and onto the compressor because it hits the cooling fan. Not a lot of room in these Cadillacs, so I had to pull the stud out. Now I'm putting the stud back in so we can continue. Once the back one's on, then the front one's a little easier. And then of course, I still got to tighten my bolts and everything, but I want to get the AC hoses in place first. If you have the pleasure of doing with these, the little nut on the back of the alternator falls out, but you can get it with your fingers in there like this here. It's a little tricky, but it goes. I'm going to give this a 8 or 10 good turns. Get this belt up in here. I got to lower it down, do it from the top. I'm not going to put the washer bottle in yet until I see how this AC works. What do you think about that? I'm not going to throw caution to the wind on this job. So we'll be doing that next. That fell right on with hardly any effort at all. It says add oil now, so that's what I'm doing. The compressor says it comes at 0.8 ounces of oil, so I'm adding 2 more ounces, so I feel better. The lines look a little dry as well too when I had them off the compressor, so it'll be golden. Now I can tell it that we're done with all that stuff. It passed the vacuum leak test. All I gotta do is charge this thing and see how it works. The sticker shows me how much Freon, 1.43 pounds. So I'm gonna put 23 ounces in. Now it'll purge air out of the system, make sure it doesn't push air into the air conditioning. Give us some Freon. We'll be able to fire this thing up, see how it works. Messing with this Veloster too. Rob worked at Kia, so Kia, Hyundai, kind of the same monster. Now this Veloster, the owner's other shop, did some transmission work to it, put a transmission in it. It looks like something was jump started backwards or something. There's some fuses that were were burned out, and there's a big solder link that was repaired under the hood. So we're all kind of playing with this one. I haven't filmed it because we're all messing with it on and off, trying to sort it out. It's looking to me like the TCM's bad. So the next thing we're going to check is power and grounds. The TCM never works the actuators. You put it in gear, it stays like it's in neutral. It says Fast and Furious, bro. You put it says E on the dash, it never works the actuators. You try to get it to do an actuator learn, it never works the actuators. It says test failed. So, and the 40 amp fuse that goes to the TCM that powers up the circuit that controls the actuators from the TCM, that fuse was blown. So we're thinking the TCM took some damage. Doesn't take much. You put a surge of a couple hundred amps from a jump box backwards or something. Pure speculation, I don't know. But it's something logical that could definitely be causing those issues. So anyway, like I said, I'll catch you up on it as we go along figuring it out. Alright, sometimes these Cadillacs get mad and you have to clear codes for the air to work afterwards, but we'll see. Auto. Man, look at them pressures. Right there. It's already feeling cold. Yay! Alright. I don't want to get it too hot. We're going to start putting this thing back together. Can't send them down the road with no washers, silly. There's some weird stuff going on up there. It takes a little bit of finagling. Some of you whippersnappers don't know what finagling is, but it's when you have a situation where things don't happen the way you like. I don't know what the kids call that nowadays. What do the kids call that? If we call it finagling, the kids call it cloistering or something. I don't know. Push pins and add things back in for the 8th time or whatever it is. A couple little things to button up on top. I'll take this thing for a drive and see what's next. Alright, gotta get a bunch of stuff out of the way. I pulled this line out and the oil's all dripping out of there and everything, so we're gonna clear that passage in the intake, I think. I'm gonna do the crank seal, a belt, and clean the PCV orifice. Uh-oh, I'm running out. That's terrible news. Come on, come on. Oh my kid, I don't have anywhere near enough. Going through this stuff like Rain Man Ray, it's crazy. I'm gonna have to get a sponsor. Oh man. So nice when you got lots of it. I'm gonna squirt it all over the place. And this thing's gonna be clean as new, as long as you don't start it again, because that'll make a mess. So get this cleaned up. Pop that pulley off of there, should be a piece of cake. I'm not even sure if you need a press for that or puller, but it's a bolt, it's got threads in it, so you probably do. Let's see. Go ahead and get this out of here. Be nice if that pulls right off of there. Let's see. Told you it would come right off. Got my new seal. It says it's for Hunter Biden. I don't know. I didn't have him as a GMC Terrain kind of guy. I thought it was like maybe a Chrysler 300C with a Hemi or something. But anyway, that old seal will just pop right out of there with a pry bar or a large screwdriver very carefully. You pull from here and stick it under the lip. It'll just pop it right out of there. It makes the exact same sound as that. We should be good. Comes with a little tool, which is kind of strange. You got to take the tool out of there to put the crank pulley on, so we'll figure it out. Where's that little sliver? A little sliver of something there, like metal. I probably can use my little clip tool. No, maybe not. Need something larger. I don't want to damage the area. It seems to be going into the hole a little too much. Alright, let me try something else. That's a little better. And it keeps it safe for you too, so it doesn't do a gravity check. Now I'm going to wipe it all down, make sure I get all the oil out of there. You want it dry when you shove it in. I mean when you install it. You know what I meant. Well, got it pretty clean. This little socket, this axle socket, 12-point Toyota truck socket, is almost the identical size. I do have seal installer kits, but they're not the exact size. They kind of skip, so I'm using this. Should get a smaller ball peen, I think, but I think we'll be alright. As long as this is pretty flat and straight. Gotta go a little more over here. Oh, I think we're gonna color that good. That is perfect. And you notice there's flats in there. There's flats also on this pulley. And there's a keyway. So everything should line up. The keyway is either on the bottom or the top. And I think it's on the top. So that's the way I'm going to start. Boom. Too easy. It's way too easy. There's a torque spec for this. I'll tighten it with the impact gun, and then we'll grab the torque wrench. You don't want to get too crazy, let the torque wrench do most of it. Now, of course, I gotta have my writing facing out. That's the only way you would do this kind of job. And then sneak it underneath my wrench. I'm gonna pull it on the crank pulley last. What do you think about that? That's just how I like to do it. This takes a 5-groove belt. Nice. The old Gear Wrench 120XP to the rescue. How things skin, Zach. This thing has been bailing me out all week. 111 plus 100 degrees. Good luck with that. You're really supposed to replace that bolt too. Just a heads up. GoPro decided to shut up, shut off, shut up, whatever you want to call it. Doing weird stuff. Hopefully this footage works today. We'll see. Might have less to edit. Put that up on the side. That one's ready to go. I'm going to get Torx for that. Don't want to drop anything in the old manifold, so do ourselves a favor. You can put some tape across that too. I'm going to double rag it because she's got a big hole right there, and I don't want stuff to fall in there that doesn't belong. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Come on, map sensor. Let's do this. Take this out of the way. Don't break the nipple on the manifold. All this stuff's pretty brittle too. Luckily this car is not that old. I can't imagine where this car will be in 5 or 10 years. But I know it won't be in my driveway, so it's all good. Keep taking stuff out of the way till we get down to the manifold bolts, right? That thing is in there. Whoa. Feels like I got it on snapperdoodle, but it's making the phone ring. That's another. Oh, just got to click it twice. That's all. It's a big deal. Keep tucking stuff out of the way. Get this cover off. I think next. I think I have to pull the dipstick all the way out too. It's been a few months since I've done one of these. I'm not going to take the whole high pressure pump out. I think I just need to get this out of the way so I can get this intake bolt. I do have to take the fuel line out of the way just to get some more room. That's going to be a quick connect dealio. I have this tool here I've had for years. Made in USA. KD Tools 3321. I've had this tool for a couple of minutes, otherwise known as a long time. It works pretty well. As long as you can fit the tool, you can disconnect stuff. That's what really matters. It might be the bigger size. It doesn't look it though. It looks like it's in between. And I got other tools if it is. Very carefully without breaking the sensor. There you go. I felt it pop. That means it released. Now they'll tell you to do all kinds of fuel pressure relief things. They'll tell you to turn on the fuel pump relay or take out the fuel pump relay, crank the engine over until it runs and stalls. Try to start it a couple more times, then you know most of the fuel pressure's out. But to me that's hard on the pump and the fuel system. So I just let it go and the fuel pressure's gone, and then you can take this off and you're good to go. I'm going to unbolt this bolt. I think holds it to the manifold. That'll let me get more of it out of my way. We should be in pretty good shape there. I'm going to get this dipstick bracket out of my way, and I think I can take this insulator off. I wonder if I could be tricky. I'll go over this 2 or 3 times, try to make sure there's no dirt and debris left up there. And I think I could take these intake bolts out, pull it back enough to clean. All we're doing is cleaning the orifice port, and I can put some new gaskets in there. Most of the time, like when I worked at Chevrolet, you didn't replace the gaskets when it was under warranty. If the gaskets were still pliable and they recovered, then you didn't replace them. It wasn't considered part of the warranty. And I never had a problem with them leaking either. I mean, it's better to always replace them every time you take it apart. But honestly, if they're in good shape and the plastic surface of the manifold shows the gasket prominent coming out of the manifold, it's going to seal when you put it against the other surface, right? So it's just one of those things that you do most of the time, so you can offer the customer trouble-free repair. But 999 out of 1,000 times, you probably can reuse them. But I have taken them apart where they're completely flat and they don't recover. They're no longer pliable, then you have to replace them. It's kind of a judgment call. We tend to do it every time just to be sure. Mostly just talking about if you're working on your car yourself or something, that kind of thing. This isn't really hard to get off. It's not very time consuming. If the gaskets look nice, reuse them. That's what I'm trying to say. 13 millimeter. Quarter drive, taking a beating, unlike the 3/8. See, it's mad. Do your job, sorry. People are all over my Milwaukee problem video. I told you Milwaukee sucks because I didn't buy one. Hey man, whatever you bought is the best. In reality, I've owned them all, I've broken them all. I just happen to be experiencing Milwaukee problems now because that's what I'm using. You know what I'm saying? I do hear really good things about the new Snap-on brushless stuff, but you know, they came to the brushless market like 6-8 years after everybody else, and their tools still cost 3 times as much. So honestly, if something's 3 times as much, it better set the industry standard. Otherwise, it'd be pretty silly to buy it, right? Let's see here. Oh man. Oh, look at this thing. I think if I take these studs out, I can sneak it past that. I really don't want to disturb this if I can avoid it. Looks like a 5 millimeter. Are you kidding me? It's going to come out that easy? Uh-oh. Don't strip it. That's why I went underneath on the other one. Let's do the same thing. I'm gonna have to take this off. Oh well, that's alright. No trouble at all. 210s. I just didn't want to. I don't want to disturb the high pressure line and stuff if I can avoid it. But something's got to go. Either the dipstick bracket. I think if I take the dipstick out of there, I can leave that and slide the manifold down a little more. Or I can just give in and take the injector, the high pressure pump off. We'll do that. It's a ball and seat line. Like a brake line kind of. I don't like messing with these if I don't have to, but you got to be very careful. You don't want to flex them. Those hard lines, you don't want to be flexing and bending them because some of them are coated in. I don't think many of them are, but some of them are. 210s, once this line's off, little centering bushings on here. Don't lose it. A lot of carbon in there. This thing probably hasn't seen a lot of love, which is one of those things that saddens me a little bit. Poor car. We're going to get it fixed up though. Or that's where the PCB orifice goes to, down here. Take a little bit of shop air. This is actually vacuum to the purge, but I'm trying to see if it's connected to that, messing around in here a little bit. And you can see my drill bit fits in there. It's clear. I'll go up a couple of sizes just to make sure I got it cleaned up a little bit. Now we get a little tricky, but it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all good. I want to get the gaskets, they're not here yet. They should be here any minute though now. We probably could have got away without changing these, but when you're working on a customer's vehicle, you can't afford to have a problem, so you go a little bit above and beyond. We got us a sweet set of faux pro gaskets. Try to get this thing back together. Try to get it done tonight. Now, we don't want to rush at this point and mess things up, but they all slip in there pretty easy. Curves are at the bottom. You can see where they're curved for the injectors. So the curve goes to the bottom. I'll do that first. And back, we've bolted this thing in. Cylinder the head all wiped down nice. Put the studs in first. Have this thing back together, lickety split. $18 foot-pounds. Not going too tight. We'll handle it with the torque wrench. I gotta tighten these studs up still. I'm just gonna put the nuts on there for now. Grab our 5mm socket. Make sure these have a good bite first. They're not crazy tight. A couple foot-pounds. Before we go any further, I get my torque wrench. 18 is the 8 before you get to 20, right? 2 more would be 20. So you just backed off 2. So it's easy. Always work your way from the inside out. Might need to get a flexible socket for this one. That worked. These little clamps are just terrible. With needle nose, they don't seem to work. So I always have to grab these to get them to move. Because the needle nose will just kind of slip off them. They're so soft and bendy. I don't know. They're very odd. Very odd little clamps. Throttle body. Put the injector pump in. First I'm going to get this stuff buttoned up so there's no open holes in the intake manifold. It's going to happen fast from here. Just like that. I'm done. Just got to do this little push clip doodle thing. Now it's done. Plugged in, that's tight. Map, line, fuel line, safety clip. You guys know how these go on, right? Pocket screwdriver. Just doing this for you guys. Taking it back apart because I didn't film it. The front catch goes on first, and the back catch. Dunk. That's in case the retainer fails. It's a backup. They kind of work actually if it does fail. I think we're ready to put the air cleaner back on this thing. Check the oil, make sure the oil's full. I think they might have changed the oil not long ago or something like that. Oop, it's going to need a little oil. Just off the hash marks. Put a quart in there. See how she goes. 1 quart of 5W30 Dexos synthetic blend. They mean the same thing. It's just a GM corporate name for it. It's Dexos. Synthetic blend. That's all it is. A little bit of grease on the pop-on pins. Always helps. They're in the back.
The condenser already has one dye on the outside of it, right?
Yeah, I washed it all off, but if it's back, I gotta take a look. A couple of holes. It look like it's got dye on it. Alright, got ready to fire this up. Hopefully the battery light goes out. Yay! I'm still going to put my voltmeter on there and see what it's charging at. But we should get air conditioning. Oh, automatic. How about that? I bet you it's set really cold too. Let me see here. Alright. Nope. Run a little rough because I had the fuel system apart. Shut it off, restart it. Run a little rough again. Alright. Let's get the old scan tool out. Alright, I grabbed the scan tool and get back to it and it starts running good, which I suspected. We had a bunch of air in the fuel system, so that'll make them misfire. That's alright, we're going to go ahead anyway, and we're going to check these codes for StabiliTrak and clear them, see if they're set by the misfire. Probably, and then we'll just clear them out. Take this thing for a drive. I'm going to look at scan data. and see what kind of charging voltage we have too. I don't even have to get a voltmeter out while I got the scan tool out anyway, right? I'll show you in the data lines how that looks. I'm going to switch back and forth between the top dawn and the launch each day, and we'll see what the pros and cons of each, if there's any real difference. Let's go into data stream. You can see right here 13.9 volts is charging. There'll be a charging command, or it'll just show you engine voltage or something like that, it'll be called. We will go into electrical and immobilizer data. Every brand and every scan tool is just a little bit different. Generator F terminal signal, generator indicator command, L terminal voltage status, open test status. So look at that. Anything to do with the generator basically, or alternator. You can see it's at 65%, so it's pretty happy. The indicator's off. The L terminal voltage is okay. Generator L terminal 70%. It's not showing me voltage still. I do have voltage up here, but I'm just trying to find it for you guys. I think most scan tools probably have that. Very interesting. No voltage PID in any of the data screens. I searched through all of them. What I did is I brought up the generator L terminal control. You can see the voltage, commanded state. If we go on, it should go higher. 15 volts. It's going to try not to hurt the battery. Then you go off, and the voltage drop down. Off. You go on. Goes back up. So now we back out of that. It'll shut off the test. It'll take a second. This will recover. But there is no data PID for voltage, which is unusual. I didn't think that was going to be the case. See, I learned something today. I learned something every day. Just the same way I learned that sometimes the day comes to an end and you get to go home and relax a little bit, kick your feet up, go through the comments on the channel, which has been doing really well. I've been getting a couple of weird comments, like my short where I wiggle the brake rotor and hub. The hub bearing is blown out on a car, and we ended up fixing it, and the hub bearing was destroyed. And I got, maybe 4 guys go in there and go, I hope you're not a professional lying to your customers. The rotor's moving on the hub's not moving. I'm like, where do you guys come from? If you don't know what you're talking about, or you're not 100% sure, it's best to keep it quiet. I'm obviously dirty. We're ending the day, and I'm going to wash up, get ready to go home, and chill with you guys in the comments section. So thanks for watching today's video. Hope you got something from it. I really enjoyed your company. Hope you'll torque the like button on the way out, and I hope I'll see you in the next video, because you're awesome.